Muddy is our admin, so don't worry about that. Guys, in the top right, or the right-hand side, we have from Team Gamma Mania, also known as the Gamma Bears, it is Sen, the most successful Taiwanese player in StarCraft 2 history.
I love that. Sen asks DIMAGA, how long do you think you'll be playing StarCraft? He says, a long time. That's what I like to hear, Dima. Dima Flipchuck. I hope Sen stays in here. I know he actually has a lot of social pressure from his parents and
to move on.
And his friends. Yeah, to move on, but I really hope that doesn't happen.
I really hope so as well, because Sen is a great guy, great personality, very funny. I actually really like hearing him talk in Chinese because he's just so funny, man. I'm not that great at Chinese. It's just I understand what Sen was saying. And it's just the way he says stuff. It's really hard to explain how someone is funny in Chinese compared to English. Like, for example, you can say someone's really funny in English through like the way they set up stories and the way they deliver lines and how they're able to say the same thing like 4 different ways while making it seem situationally very ironic. But the way you see that you sound funny in like Chinese is like the way you express your emotion to a situation, you know? People people always go in Chinese like, what? It doesn't sound that funny in English, but the people go like, wow, and they just start talking about everything. And Sen is just such a funny guy. Whenever I listen to him talk, I'm just rolling and laughing.
No, I think that's
you know
something with Asians. Yeah. My mom,
yeah.
she actually used to just like, say like, what are those things
it's
called?
so hard to describe in English, man.
Yeah.
The only way you can do it is start talking in Chinese.
Like,
I feel like I'd isolate.
Like if she didn't
all
like
of our
it,
viewers
something,
that
she
way.
would say chai. That's all she would say.
That
Chai.
makes sense, right?
And I'm like, yeah.
Or like the Koreans going, ai,
yeah.
Or like they go like, ai, ya.
She would be like,
really funny, man. I don't know.
Alamak. And that's it. And I'm like, okay. And they actually Malaysians are famous for always saying la at the end of everything to like stress it, like okay la, like that.
Yeah.
So like a lot of times you can actually just use a lot of emotion with that one little word.
Yeah. It doesn't really mean anything, just
Yeah.
other than an expression of emotion.
Yeah.
It's really funny. Sen has a lot of those. If you ever meet him at an event like TT1, he's very friendly, very funny. Go talk to him.
Definitely so. I think Sen is one of the funniest people in the world, honestly. But anyway, StarCraft. Let's do that. Both these players opening up very similarly. As you can see, income tab, pretty close. Metabolic boost, pretty close. Everything is down the line. So nothing of too much substance so far.
Yeah, it's Metropolis. It's a map that's very safe to do almost anything. In fact, one spine crawler can protect both your opening as well as your ramp if you can position it correctly. That's why people usually just do a simple Evo chamber wall off from there. Although what's really cool is what I saw at MLG, Andre, that you brought up yesterday, which was Violet's match, and I can't remember who was it against. Was it against Life? I remember, it was Violet against Leenock. It was basically going for a lot of double Nidus plays and then just bouncing back and forth. And it was just so cool to see how, you can just take advantage of mispositioned units, because if you have units attacking all the way on the other side, Nidus Rally basically allows you to base trade, and you can use smaller amount of numbers, like use Infestors, lock down position, weaken them, and have some units killing off tech. Yeah. And then you double Nidus the other side where their 5th base is, and then kill off expansions. It's really cool.
Historically, ZVZ has always been known to be very staggered, very stagnant, I should say, where neither of the players really do any pressure once there is like a ton of roaches, a ton of hydras, and a ton of infestors. Like, it's hard to actually justify, hey, I can go and attack my opponent. But now with the double Nidus actually coming into play, I feel like that's going to actually change up the matchup quite substantially, and you're not going to have that sit back, relax mode as much.
Yeah, it's not sit back and turtle, really.
Yeah, because now with double Nidus or even triple Nidus, you might be prone to a lot of multi-pronged aggression that could just instantly pop up in your base, in your 3rd base, whatever it might be.
Very nice rearrange there by Sen to kind of salvage any kind of run by. That was actually really cleverly done. That could have turned into a huge fight into the main, but instead Sen just holds it off while squeezing in more drones. That's pretty much Sen's MO in every single matchup. Just try to squeeze in a little bit more drones. or do like the wackiest all-in you've ever seen, like slow Hydra, slow Zergling attack. We see a quick Spire tech as well. Sen loves mutas in ZVZ. Sometimes he commits to him, sometimes he doesn't. He's also very unpredictable in that regard. But look at this from DIMAGA. Quick Spire as well. Question is, how many mutas will both players make, right? Will it be the 8, the 6 to 8, or will it be the high committal to the mutas? Committal is not a word, isn't it?
No,
it's commitment.
It's okay. It's going to depend whether or not the third base is up. If the third base is not up, then they're not going to actually switch over to Infestors too fast. The third base allows you to actually stay stable, get that muta count, and then while you're actually doing that, you tech over to Infestors, and you're able to actually defend with muta, queen, and then Infestors should catch your opponent off guard. So both these players are going to be very active with trying to deny the third base as best as possible. Sen over here doing a little bit of damage. Banelings, ooh, nice explosions. And look at that. Sen is going to be able to get his third up. Nicely done. Now, ground control is probably one of the most important things when you're going mutas. And people might not realize this, but if I have mutas and you have mutas, but I have ground control, I can put my Zerglings directly underneath, and they soak up a lot of the glaive damage. And you can probably get a free 200, 300 hit points just by putting your Zerglings underneath, and that will actually keep your mutas alive a lot longer and help you win the battle in air.
That's a really cool trick you can use to help turn tides of the battle in your favor. Meanwhile, first two mutas are out onto the field, or coming out to the field. DIMAGA squeezing out 8. Sen pushing out just around 6, so a little bit less, but of course he committed much more resources to his third base. Already a queen in position. Sen's macro looks on point this game. Just like you said, Andre, we'll see how they're able to fight for both air and ground control, although DIMAGA looks like he's going to have a lot more mutas initially, just because of the way he's able to defend, but from here, nice pick off on the queen. Potentially he was able to get there, but now Sen sees the mutas and he has to back off.
Yes, he does. And see, both these players are going to commit pretty heavily onto these mutas. Even Carapace, which is actually pretty important in this position. Why get Carapace? Because the glaives, excuse me.
Glaives.
They're so important. They do a lot of damage, so you're trying to minimize that as much as possible with that Carapace. Right now, though, Sen does have the advantage in that the mutas are on his opponent's side of the map. And you can see DIMAGA is really lagging that fashion. So he will be able to pick off this one queen and probably a couple of drones. He does need to think about leaving pretty soon, though.
Yes, just pick off whatever you can. Although he's going to take a couple losses, maybe, depending on how things are. But the one Overseer has been spotted as well. It's kind of tough because Muta's turns are reduce their speed just ever so slightly, and you get a little bit more damage every time. You can see the Muta's slowly just losing health here and there, of course. DIMAGA has to be kind of cautious too, because now it's starting to get to the zone where he has to turn back, and he does.
That's right. He can be flanked by additional mutas. Let's go ahead and look at the muta count. Unit tab shows 18 to 15 in favor of Sen right now. Both these players just clearing up each other's overlord, so it's making it really uncomfortable for them to really commit anywhere. We're going to see an evolution chamber come down for both these players most likely, just because you don't want to be caught off guard. Not having spores, just buying that time is so important because it could mean, 20 drones dying or 5 drones dying. It's a big difference.
So walk me through this, Andre, because whenever I've played Muta and ZVZ and I've gone up against another Muta player, one of us always quickly switches into Infest or something. But what happens? Do they both just kind of have this arms race of who can have more Mutas upwards to like the 30, 40 count, and just whoever has more and who can pick off more just ends up winning? Like, what happens from this? I'm not used to seeing this situation.
Yeah, to an extent, both these players are staying on heavy mutas, which is really, really weird. But this is not good for Sen right now. He actually needs to back up. You can tell because of the ground. These glaives are going to take, yeah, there you go. Puts them right underneath.
Nice.
That way they'll get a little bit of damage. So you're going to see them just scattered a little bit here and there.
Queen's coming in for some DPS.
But wow, Sen actually has a surprising amount more mutas. I was completely wrong with that call. I didn't even check the muta count. That was kind of silly of me.
No worries, Andre. Oh, DIMAGA overstaying his welcome again. And pushing out his mutas into the middle of the map without having any coverage. Muta count for Sen very high compared to his opponent. He's now at 14 compared to 4. And Sen now has free reign to harass because DIMAGA got to pull his queens. This is going to put Sen in a very nice advantage, although he's still making more mutas. And DIMAGA will have +1 done for his flyer attacks.
Yeah, and this should actually make a little bit more sense now that you think that the third base for Sen got up a little bit faster. He actually started mining gas about a minute faster than his opponent. And that normally yields a muta advantage. And that's why he was able to win that battle so decisively. So Sen just transitioning his macro into huge yields in this game. Now, there is an upgrade advantage, I do believe. 1-1 up for the mutas of DIMAGA. Still 0-1 for Sen. So that, again, eating into that first battle, the first major battle. DIMAGA is struggling. He really can't keep going mutas, but he is. Once he keeps going mutas, he's actually just saying, I'm going to lose the game. There's nothing that he can really do from here. Because Sen just has a much better economy. He's the one that's always going to be doing damage to his opponent. And when it comes down to it, I mean, you're never going to get more mutas than your opponent. So you need to think about switching over to something like Infestors. But Sen not even giving that time.
Wow, he's flying directly over to it. Queens are transfusing as fast as they can, but Sen just has too many mutas compared to his opponent. This is going to spiral way out of control. If this army dies, the third is gone. DIMAGA might just wrap things up very soon because he can't really hold on for much longer.
Yeah.
GG. And Sen takes game number 1 on Metropolis with great muta decision micro as well as his macro. Overall, solid game.
Yes, sir. Taking the third a little bit faster. I'm actually surprised we didn't see DIMAGA Infestor switch.
Yeah, I agree.
Sen known to be that super aggressive, but DIMAGA saying, I want to meet you with a lot of mutas. Normally, the transition is you get the evolution chamber, get a couple of queens, and then you tech over to Infestor. But we've seen Sen historically punish that by going a lot of roaches, and then your Infestors pop out. They spend all of the energy on top of those, on top of the mutas, and then your roaches just pull through because you have nothing to directly deal with them. So it could be that, but Sen just a really good player.
Awesome job and well done by Sen, but his work is not done yet. Has to win one more game in order to contend for first. DIMAGA still hoping to pull back into the series. This game was brought to you by Epson, the #1 projector brand worldwide. Check them out at epson.com. When we return, game number 2 between Sen and DIMAGA. Remember, Sen's undefeated, so he wants to keep that streak alive. We'll find out what happens right after this commercial break.